Fight on, Trojans, and welcome to the Voice of College Football USC channel. I'm your host, Rick Anaya. Glad to have you back and joining me for another episode of Trojans Talk on Tap, where I keep your glass full of the latest buzz on USC football, sometimes an opinion on what's happening in college football, but always at the end, a quality craft beer recommend to upgrade your tailgate this year, whether it's you're at the Coliseum or tailgating at another game. If you are a fan of another team, drop it down in the comments. I'd like to see where you're tailgating this year and what's your favorite tailgate beer. So Trojans, I apologize. I plan to get this out on Wednesday, but there's been a lot of things happening at USC this week. This video is being recorded on Friday, and what a week it was. So bright that I got to wear shades. It was just crazy. Just to recap, on Monday, Carrollton announces the new hiring of athletic director Jen Cohen from the University of Washington. On Tuesday, Lincoln Riley gets a commit from the number one quarterback and number one player in the nation, class of 26 quarterback, Julian JuJu Lewis from Carrollton High School in the state of Georgia. On Wednesday, Reggie Bush files a defamation lawsuit against the NCAA. And not only does he do that, but the press conference is atop the Coliseum in Club 1923, looking down at the peristyle, the same location where Lincoln Riley was hired, was officially introduced as the new USC football hire. You may remember that, Trojans, and other people from across the country that are tuning in. And this morning, it was announced that USC and DirecTV have entered an agreement to broadcast all of USC Athletics on DirecTV. How crazy this week is. So Trojans, we're going to get into some of this, into a little bit more detail. But obviously, there's going to be some future episodes to discuss and break down these items more. But let me know, what was the most surprising news, USC news this week? Was it the hiring of Jen Cohen, the verbal commit from JuJu Lewis, or was it the Reggie Bush defamation lawsuit, or the DirecTV agreement between USC and DirecTV? Drop it down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let's start off with Jen Cohen. And the title of this episode is USC's JuJu is back. And I'm going to get into that. But who can forget JuJu Smith-Schuster? He's the first JuJu that I can recall attending USC. And he was on that Rose Bowl team in 2017 with Adoree Jackson and Sam Darnold. So JuJu, congratulations to you, Super Bowl champion last year with the Kansas City Chiefs, formerly with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now this year taking his talents to New England and the Patriots. Good luck, JuJu. But getting into Monday, USC announced the hiring of Jen Cohen, athletic director at the University of Washington. And this was, I consider, a home run for a number of different reasons. Now, Jen Cohen has numerous years of athletic AD experience, working in an athletic department. 25 years she's worked in the athletic department in one capacity or another at the University of Washington. She was the AD since 2016 for 7 years. And she recently, successfully, along with the president, Anne-Marie Casse, got Washington into the Big Ten. You can remember, just a few weeks ago, Washington and Oregon got into the Big Ten. So why this is a home run is her experience. In her 7 years, the athletic teams have won 19 Pac-12 championships, including 2 in football, men's soccer, women's and men's rowing, and women's volleyball. And they also had a number of Pac-12 coaches of the year. She was also successful and instrumental in 2019 in striking a deal, $119 million athletic apparel deal with Adidas. She is known for her fundraising, her competitiveness, her spirit, understanding of the Pac-12 conference and now the Big Ten. So this is just a home run hire. And the one thing that kind of struck me, and I didn't really understand when we were watching, and perhaps I want to get your thoughts, watching the press conference on Monday morning. they had a number of different speakers speak before Jen Cohen. And I was like, wow, this is kind of unusual, but hey, USC had the national stage, if you will, because this press conference was on Monday. Ironically, it was the first day of classes at USC, and it was picked up, and it had time to be picked up because I believe it was at 11 o'clock in the morning on Monday. So there was a captive audience, not only in college football, but in the NCAA. And Carol Folt, one of her phrases, Trojans, you may recall, is she likes to go for what she calls moonshots. And she's already had a few of them. Hiring of Lincoln Riley, the moving to the Big Ten, that announcement, and now hiring a Jen Cohen. So watching the press conference, I was kind of thinking, what is going on here? Because if you recall, there's a few different speakers before her, and I'll refresh your memory. There was obviously Carol Folt, the USC president, speaking. She's also the chair of the board of the directors of the AAU, which stands for the Association of American Universities. She was appointed that position in October of 2022. Very prestigious. The second speaker was Suzanne Nora Johnson. She's the chair of the USC Board of Trustees. She was appointed in June of 2022, replacing Rick Caruso. Then you had USC Provost Andrew T. Guzman. He is the USC's second highest ranking administrator. He just got into the position July 1st of 2023. And then you also had Dr. Alan Green, PhD. He is the USC Athletics faculty representative. And then we had Jen Cohen. So why all these speakers before Jen Cohen, who everybody came to listen to? You have to understand Carol Folt and these moonshots. And if you put that in your mind, Trojans, this was like a commercial giving a message to perhaps Charlie Baker, the NCAA, that USC is fully integrated, compliant, and acting like USC. And USC's JuJu is back. So showing the NCAA and everybody else, from the board of the board of trustees, the chair of the board of trustees, Carol Folt, the president, to the provost, to the faculty athletics rep, to the new athletic director, head coach Lincoln Riley, and all the other athletic teams. This is the model. This is USC moving forward. We are back, and you're going to have to deal with us, not only on the academic level, with Carol Folt being the chair of the AAU, but with all of the new athletics that are happening. And one of the key things that why Jen Cohen, I believe, was hired was because of her fundraising ability, her attitude, her spirit. And right now, there's 3 big capital projects going on, moonshots that Carol Folt talks about. It's the building of Rawlings Stadium. That's where women's soccer and for women's lacrosse. That's to be completed in 2025. You also have rebuilding Dado Field, the baseball field, and you have the new football facility. So 3 major projects, all before the 2028 Olympics that are coming to LA. And this is the 100th year anniversary of the Coliseum. So a lot of things happening at USC. And Jen Cohen, welcome to the Trojans. Fight on. You're a native of Arcadia, California. And she was excited. And she understands the power of USC. And she made a statement that she said, I have long admired the Trojan spirit and the USC community's commitment to always fight on with integrity and absolute dedication in pursuit of excellence both on and off the field. It is the honor of a lifetime to come back to Southern California to serve as USC's athletic director and officially join the Trojan family. It's a huge hire. She becomes the 10th athletic director in USC's history and the first woman to earn the athletic director designation. She is well respected in the industry. She was named by Sports Illustrated in 2020 as one of the most influential women in sports. And in 2019, she was a finalist for Athletic Director of the Year by Sports Business Journal. So congratulations, Jen Cohen. You're a Trojan, and we're glad to have you. Moving on to Tuesday, not to be outdone, with Carol Folt signing the number one athletic director of the transfer portal, Lincoln Riley gets a commit from Julian JuJu Lewis, the number one quarterback and player in the class of 2026 from Carrollton, Georgia. Congratulations, Lincoln Riley. There was speculation even before this commit that Julian was going to reclassify to the class of 2025. He just started his sophomore season, so look out for that, Trojans. This is an amazing quarterback. He's a freshman. He led the Carrollton High School Trojans. Yes, he's on a Trojans team. He led them to the 7A Georgia State title game, eventually losing to number 18 in the nation, Mill Creek. But as a freshman, Julian JuJu Lewis led Carrollton to the number 26 ranking in the country. They were 14-1. He threw for over 4,100 yards, 66% completion ratio, 48 TDs, and I believe 12 interceptions. Amazing numbers for a freshman. So the future is bright, not only for USC, but for JuJu. And let's not forget that USC basketball and Lindsey Gottlieb, congratulations to you for signing the number one high school player last year in JuJu Watkins. Looking forward to seeing JuJu Watkins play this year at the Galen Center. Fight on, JuJu. But really, when I say USC's JuJu is back, it's the first time I can remember USC acting like USC. And so part of the press conference on Monday exemplified that. Then we get Lincoln Riley's announcement. And then Wednesday, we hear late Tuesday night going into Wednesday that Reggie Bush was going to be filing a defamation lawsuit against the NCAA. And wow, that was a shocker. And perhaps there were some, I guess, little hints that were laid out because there were some pictures of the Coliseum getting ready for this year's football season. Also, I mentioned earlier, it's the 100th year anniversary of the Coliseum. And we saw the new retired jerseys. Those are the jerseys that you see in the peristyle end zone that former USC Heisman Trophy winners have won. And there was two spots over to the right side that were open. And there was speculation that was going to be for Caleb Williams and one of these days, Reggie Bush. But little did we know that there would be a lawsuit that would be filed against the NCAA. And this is what happened on Wednesday. So it was just crazy. The week kept on happening. I'm not going to get into that as much. I'm just going to give you some of the details. And this is, another episode in itself. If you'd like to get more information on Reggie Bush and what had happened, why he's filing this defamation lawsuit, what led to this, drop it down in the comments. I'd like to hear from you. I'm thinking about doing a future episode on Reggie Bush and some of the things that led up to this. So, as I mentioned, on Wednesday, he filed a defamation suit over the suggestion he was part of a pay-for-play plan. And Trojans, when I talk about moonshots, what I want you to focus in on is where the press conference was staged. It was high atop the rooftop of the Coliseum in Club 1923. That is known as the President's Suite. It's the same location where USC introduced Lincoln Riley. For those across the country, you probably saw that press conference because that pretty much rocked college football. It was totally unexpected. As you know, nobody was thinking Lincoln Riley was going to be hired. The names that you heard at the time were James Franklin, Matt Campbell, perhaps Luke Fickell, but nobody had Lincoln Riley. So that is where it was held. If you're on top of that rooftop, and you look down to the right, you can see those two open spots in the peristyle for the future Caleb Williams jersey and perhaps Reggie Bush. So that was a message being sent to the NCAA. And I would say this is one of the moonshots that Carol Folt has, is to get the NCAA to restore USC's victories, the wins, the BCS championship, and Reggie Bush's Heisman. Because the Heisman Trust, independent of the NCAA, has always said that they defer to the NCAA. And if Reggie Bush wasn't considered eligible, then he is not considered their Heisman Trophy winner. So They could have had the press conference anywhere else. They could have had it at the law office, but they chose Club 1923. So let me know what you thought of that press conference and the venue where they held it. Drop it down in the comments. Bush is represented by Levi G. McCathern and civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who filed the lawsuit on Wednesday, August 23rd in Marion County, Indiana, against the NCAA. That is where the NCAA offices are located. And if you're listening to this, I'm putting air quotes. That's the offices where the friendly folk of the NCAA are located. This lawsuit is based on the NCAA maliciously attacking his character through a completely false and highly offensive statement that was widely reported in the media and substantially irreparably damaged his reputation, according to Reggie. Reggie also went on to say, most recently, the NCAA has made a statement about me, accusing me of engaging in a pay-for-play arrangement, which is 100% not true. Not only is it's not true, but there's no evidence to even support that claim. Reggie said he has dreams. He's got dreams of coming back in the stadium and running out of that tunnel with the football team, but he's not going to do that until his name is cleared, the wins are restored, and he gets his Heisman back. So drop it down in the comments. Is this another moonshot by Carol Folt? If it does happen, do you think it happens this year? When do you think it's going to happen, Trojans? Drop that down in the comments as well. I think it's going to happen this year, and I don't think it's even going to go to trial because, and that's another reason on Monday why you had all those speakers, I believe, is because they were showing Charlie Baker, the new president of the NCAA, we are fully compliant. We are ready from top down to not only win championships at USC, but we're academically fully aligned. The graduation success rate has been rising for the past 5 years. And they are, I believe that the NCAA, they should take this opportunity to basically make good, hit a base hit, Charlie Baker. And this is not on your watch what happened. This was on Mark Emmert. And Mark Emmert is a spineless former president of the NCAA that went out with a whimper. Nobody even knew he was gone, but they were happy because he did nothing for the NCAA. He did nothing. He put them back 30 years. And we'll get into that in another episode. But Charlie Baker, do good. This is an opportunity from a public relations standpoint because it's been awfully quiet since NIL was passed in July of 2021. Now, moving on, the last bit of news, and this was being recorded on Friday, but we heard that DirecTV has done a deal with USC Athletics. I believe they also did one announced with Notre Dame Athletics, but it's for all the athletic programs. I believe it's the USC Athletics. You're going to be able to see on some of their different network packages. I believe it's the ACC, a sports mix package. Anyhow, those details will be coming out. We can get it in a future episode, but it shows the power of the USC brand. Kind of ironic that Larry Scott, in 11 years, couldn't get a deal done with DirecTV. But you give Carol Folt a couple of years with her commitment on moonshots, and USC gets a deal with DirecTV. And, oh, by the way, Notre Dame. And guess what? Notre Dame this past summer was named as one of the new universities to gain AAU status. And who was the chairman of AAU? Carol Folt. Congratulations, Notre Dame and USC, on signing that deal to DirecTV. As you can tell, Trojans, it's going to be one special season this year. And one of the things I do at the end of the Trojans Talk on Tap is give you a quality beer recommend to upgrade your tailgate game or your party. And, you can have any type of beer, but this is not going to be any type of season. So these are just recommendations. You're not going to find them in your grocery stores. You're going to find them in quality bottle shops. And if you're watching this from out of the Southern California area, it might be even more challenging to source. But these are great beers that it's about quality over quantity. That's what I like to preach, to teach. But a lot of these beers come in a 16-ounce can, which is great because this is something that you can pair with your tailgating food. I'll give you those recommendations as well. But hey, it's there to enjoy and not to abuse. I'm not talking about quantity, but for you Trojans that enjoy quality, such as the football team, Lincoln Riley, Caleb Williams. Hey, these are some ideas. So hopefully you enjoy them. If there's something that you would like me to try or recommend, drop it down in the comments. Always open to it. Again, JRod1980, thank you very much. Wanted to have my thoughts on Fight On Pale Ale. You can check that out on episode 2. So let's get into it. This week's craft beer recommend is Shifted Perspective West Coast IPA, 6.7 percent alcohol by volume. It is a collaboration beer by Liquid Gravity out of San Luis Obispo, the Central Coast, and Bergen Beer out of San Diego. And wow, man, this beer, Shifted Perspective. So the reason why I'm getting into this beer, one of my favorite styles is West Coast IPA. And Shifted Perspective says a lot with just the name of the beer, because what happened at USC this week is shifting perspective. USC is back. We know it, Trojans, but the rest of the country, they've got doubt. Well, Carol Folt put the rest of the country on notice with that press conference, and I can't wait to see what her next moonshot is. Let me know what you think the next moonshot is going to be by Carol Folt, because you know she's planning. She is an amazing president. Thankful that she's running this university. But USC is going to shift perspective this year. I believe, I've gone on record, that USC is going to finish the regular season 11-1. They're going to win the Pac-12 championship and make it to college football playoff. And who knows what's going to happen in there. But nobody really thinks that USC is going to make it because of the defense. But we're shifting perspective. So check it out. The beer itself, a little bit of notes on it, is it basically explodes with notes of bright citrus, berries, and a tinge of dank. Super light bodied and mellow bitterness. It's the poster child for modern West Coast IPA. What I recommend is pairing it with, maybe if you're making some steak at the Coliseum, if you've got a burger, goes well with a burger, but something that is substantive, some type of some tacos, if you're making the carne asada tacos. So some type of beef will go well with a West Coast IPA. Cheers, Trojans, and fight on.